The absence of a quorum has been duly noted. The Sergeant-at-Arms will lock the door and call the absent members. All members of the Senate are requested to return to the Senate chambers in order that the Senate may reconvene and take up its business. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested, Alquist, Ashburn, Benoit, Calderon, Cedillo, Cogdill, Corbett, Correa, Cox, Denham, DeSaunier, Ducheney, Dutton, Flores, Hancock, Harmon, Hollingsworth, Huff, Kehoe, Leno, Liu, Lowenthal, Maldonado, Negrete McLeod, Oropesa, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Romero, Runner, Smidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Walters, Wiggins, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee. Mr. President, we are lacking a quorum.
The absence of a quorum having been duly noted, Sergeant-at-Arms, please lock the door and call the absent members. Members of the Senate are requested to return to the Senate chambers in order that the Senate may resume. Members of the Senate are asked to return to the Senate floor to establish a quorum in order that business may be taken up immediately upon the establishment of a quorum. Members, a quorum having been duly established, we will return to the Assembly third reading file. You will recall that we are taking up remaining items under the third reading by working our way through the roster of Senate members. Senator Ashburn, do you have any additional items to take up at this time, sir?
No, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Ashburn. Senator Benoit, do you have any items that are on Assembly third reading eligible to be taken up at this time? And if so, could you please give us the file item number, please, while we call the Senate into order. Members, please. Senator Benoit?
Yes, sir. I do have an item. It's item, it's Assembly Bill 882. It's item 190.
File item 190. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 882 by Assembly Member Fuller, an act relating to highways.
Yes, members, I'm here to present on behalf of Assemblywoman Fuller Assembly Bill 822. This measure would allow Californians to memorialize the life of a loved one involved in a fatal accident. Family and friends of fatal car accident victims will be able to purchase standardized memorial signs that will be placed to the site of a deadly collision. There are no state costs associated with this measure. All costs are covered by the requesting party, including the production, installation, and upkeep of the highway memorials. This bill is supported by AAA. Abate has received no votes. I respectfully request your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Aye. Benoit? Aye. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. DeChaney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Harmon? Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Aye. Runner? Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Wyland? Aye. Yee. Flores, aye. Maldonado, aye.
Call the absent members.
Alquist? Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Correa? Hancock? Harmon? Kehoe? Liu? Oropesa? Price? Runner? Steinberg? Wright? Yee.
Ayes 24, no 0. Senator Benoit moves a call. Senator Benoit, do you have any additional items that are eligible on Assembly third reading? No? All right, then that moves us to Senator Calderon, not at his desk. Senator Cedillo, not at his desk. Senator Cogdill, not at his desk. Senator Corbett, not at her desk. Why don't we go to Senator Romero, who is Senator Corbett? Are you ready to go? Okay. Senator Corbett, does that mean you have no items for today on third reading? Thank you very much, Senator Corbett. Then we'll go to Senator Romero for any and all items she has while we're waiting to collect the rest of the, and then we'll go to Senator Flores. Senator Romero.
Thank you. This is AB 685, file item 224.
File item 224. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 685 by Assemblymember Davis, an act relating to school facilities.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Members, this bill has no opposition. This bill comes from a recommendation on an education hearing that recognizes that only 26% of California high schools have complied with Title IX in terms of equitable access for boys and girls to sports and athletics. And as a result of this, as we've seen, many school districts have been sued for not being in compliance with Title IX. What this bill does is it simply helps to prevent such suits in the future by providing a mechanism for enforcing existing law with regard to gender equity in the schools. As I indicated, there's no opposition. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Aye. Runner? Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Weiland? Wright? Aye. Weiland? No. Yee? Hancock? Aye. Runner? No.
Call
Huff?
the absent members.
Huff? No.
Call the absent.
Alquist? Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Correa? Harmon? Maldonado? Oropesa? Padilla? Price? Steinberg? Yee? Mr. President?
Ayes 16, noes 12. Senator Romero moves a call. Senator Romero, do you have any other bills on Assembly third reading to take up today? If you do not, we will go then to Senator Flores. Senator Flores, could you please take up any and all items you have on Assembly third reading that are eligible today? File item? File item?
Thank you, Mr.
Your file
President.
item, Senator?
Mr. President, did I hear you correctly? You wanted me to take all the bills up on the Senate floor at this time?
Anything you have that's eligible on
I
Assembly
can
third
read the
reading?
summaries very quickly, Mr.
No,
Chair.
no, just the bills for which you are the floor manager.
Ah, just the ones I'm carrying. Yes, okay. File item 191.
File item 191. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 243 by Assemblymember Nava, an act relating to animal abuse.
Thank you. Members, this bill has to do with animal cruelty and neglect in California. This bill makes it mandatory for a judge to prohibit a person convicted of a specified animal-related crime from owning or having any contact with animals for a minimum period of time. Has bipartisan support. Would ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Benoit? Aye. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Weiland? Yee. Yee, aye. Calderon, aye. Huff, aye.
Call the absent members.
Alquist. Ashburn. No. Cedillo. Cogdill. Correa. Dutton. No. Harmon. Oropesa. Price. Steinberg. Wyland. Mr. President, ayes 27, noes 4.
Ayes 27, noes 4. Ayes 27, noes 4. The bill is passed. Senator Flores, do you have any other items on which you are the floor manager? No. Then thank you very much. Senator Calderon, do you have any items that are on Assembly third reading which you would like to take up today? No. Thank you very much. Senator Padilla wants to step into the breach without objection. Senator Padilla, what file item do you have, please?
2 items. The first is file item 218.
File item
218.
218. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 262 by Assemblymember Baz, an act relating to energy and making an appropriation therefore.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, as many of you know, the state of California anticipates receiving up to $1.4 billion from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Plan directed to energy-related activities. This bill formally authorizes the California Energy Commission to make grants and enter into contracts with state and local entities for projects that promote energy efficiency, water conservation, the development and use of renewable energy resources, and the protection of the environment and green job training.
Senator Padilla, one moment, please. Members, if we could ask for order. Members, please, so we can hear from Senator Padilla on this item.
The Speaker and I asked her, I vote.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Benoit? Aye. Calderon? Cedillo? Calderon, aye. Cedillo, aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. Dusanier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee. Cedillo, aye. Ashburn, aye. Yee, aye. Huff, aye.
Ayes 32, no 0. Senator Padilla moves a call. Senator Padilla, you have one more file item, I believe.
Yes, file item 196.
File item 196. Member Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 91 by Assemblymember Fuhrer, an act relating to vehicles.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill would set up a pilot program in Alameda, Los Angeles, Sacramento, and Tulare counties from July 1st, 2010 to January 1st, 2016, in which an ignition interlock device would be installed in the vehicle of someone guilty of drunk driving, as opposed to a restricted license. It's based on a successful program that exists in up to 11 other states right now. The bill would require a report from the DMV to the legislature on the results of the program no later than July 14th, 2014. There's no cost to the state, and this measure is supported by PORAC, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, California Highway Patrol, the Hospital Association, Auto Club of Southern California, and a myriad of other entities. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion, Senator Benoit.
Briefly, just add my support for this measure as a former Highway Patrol officer. These devices have proven very effective in reducing recidivism and saving lives. This is a much more restrictive program. It brings in a first-time offender. That's why it's limited to 3 counties in the state. But I think it's well worthy of a trial of this type of device and to see if we can mirror the great success that's been had in other states in reducing the number of needless deaths and tragedies on our highways. I urge and I vote.
Senator Cheney.
Question of the author.
Yes.
It was my understanding, Senator Padilla, that there were some discussions that were ongoing on this bill with regard to motorcycles and how this would apply to them, and there was some effort going on to amend it, so I don't know if it should be put over to check on that. Or
No, I spoke with the author as of about 15 minutes ago. There are no provisions here for motorcycles because, frankly, the technology doesn't exist for motorcycles as it exists for cars.
Senator Wright.
In public safety, when we heard this bill, I was a no, and I remain a no. The only real beneficiary of this bill will be the guy who makes the devices that you put on the cars. If you look at the statistics in California, what you have is that fully 25% of the people, or 75, excuse me, of the percent of the people who get a DUI don't do it again. So you're only talking about that 25% who ever have a second occurrence. Of those individuals, now the judge already has the discretion. If their drunk driving incident was so egregious, the judge can order it now. So if the judge decides that this person's transgression was bad enough, he had a 2 or 3 times allowable, the judge can make a determination and order that now, which they do in about 10% of the cases as it goes. The problem is that the person who makes the device wants more sales. And so if you require everyone who has it, one of the things that will happen is you run into issues as to what if you don't own a car. One of the hidden provisions in this bill, members, is that in the event you don't place this on your car for 6 months, you never get your driver's license back, ever. And if you don't own a car and you don't have a car to put the device on, then that means that for your entire life, you're never able to drive until you buy a car to put the device on. So now you're in a catch-22 because you were driving your friend's car and you ain't gonna put it on his car because he didn't get the ticket. So you're stuck in the middle of now, what do I do about the incident? You know, I submit that you certainly don't want people driving drunk.
Members, please.
I submit that you don't want people to drive drunk, but again, there's a provision in the law that says that there's a discount for the low-income drivers. And so if you happen to be a poor person who gets a Dewey, you can get a discount on the installation of the device. But there is no discount on the monthly fee that you have to pay to continue using your automobile, because it's not a one-time fee, members. You have to continue to pay every month to the company to operate the device. So now you got to pay to install it, you have to pay to have it removed, there is no discount on the removal, and you have to pay a monthly fee to continue to use it. And if you don't own a car, you can barely afford the car that you have. It's an unfair burden. And given the fact that the judge already has the discretion to do this in an egregious case, this is an unburdened, this is a burden, pardon me, that need not be borne because it ain't going to save any lives. We would do better, members, to just write a check to the company that makes the machine and just tell them to go away. That would be the most effective thing, because all we're doing is giving money to a vendor to sell a machine. I'd ask for a no vote.
Further debate or discussion? Senator Padilla, you may close. And once again, members, if we could have attention to the Speaker.
Thank
Senator
you, Mr.
Padilla,
President.
please wait.
Let me
One
close by
moment, Senator
acknowledging a
Padilla.
couple things.
Senator Padilla, one moment. Proceed, Senator.
Something's in the coffee today, apparently. Let me close by saying a couple of things. I mean, I appreciate the questions that were raised, and while on the one hand, I got to believe there's language, and I'll track down the specific language in the bill for Senator Wright's concern about if someone violates the law in a vehicle that wasn't their own, how those issues are resolved, because there's a little bit of a disconnect there. Let me just reiterate that this is not a permanent change in the law. This would allow, on a pilot basis for a couple of years, in a couple of counties. And the reason for the report back in a few years is to see how it's working or not working. The evaluation ought to be driven by, for example, rates at which people may repeatedly offend under this pilot program versus the balance of offenses or cases in the state of California. That evaluation can also take into account not just the recidivism or repeat offense rate, but also the costs in achieving success in getting people to not repeat these offenses. So I'd still ask for your aye vote, and I would commit to Senator Duchesne here that after this vote is taken to leave the bill on call to clarify her question between now and the end of the day.
Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? Aye. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Dutton? Aye. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? Aye. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? No. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Onnested? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? Correa? Duchesne? Harmon? Kehoe? Liu? Aye. Negrete McLeod? No. Romero? Steinberg? Mr. President, ayes 28, noes 4.
Ayes 28, noes 4. Senator Padilla moves a call. Senator Padilla, I believe that's your last item under Assembly third reading. That takes us to Senator Cedillo. We are back on alphabetical track. Senator Cedillo, do you have any items on Assembly third reading you wish to take up today? One item, if you would rise, please, and give us the item number. Senator Cedillo.
Item 98.
File item 98. Secretary will read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 3 by Assemblymember Mendoza relative to Cesar Chavez Day.
Members, ACR 3 calls upon all Californians to participate in appropriate observances to remember Cesar Chavez as a symbol of hope, justice, and public service. As we near the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month, this month, September 15th through October 15th, it's important to recognize great Californians, great Americans like the trailblazer Cesar Chavez. As we all know, he brought international attention to the plight of farm workers in our nation. As an indigenous farm worker, he became one of the most important and influential leaders of our time. Cesar Chavez founded and led the first successful farm workers union in the United States history. Today, the role of the farm worker is just as vital to the future of California as it was when Chavez began his struggle. Farm workers have enabled our great state to become the 8th largest economy of the world, through the development and growth of the ag industry. The inspiration of Chavez is apparent in his leadership and passion embodied in the 6,000 Latinos currently holding office nationwide, 26 of whom are in the California legislature. And his motto, Si se puede, yes we can, embodies the uncommon and invaluable legacy he left for the world's benefit. Please join me in celebrating the life and legacy of Cesar Chavez. I ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Duchesne. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. Kehoe. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Price. Aye. Romero. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Kehoe. Aye.
Ayes 29, noes 0. Senator Cedillo moves a call. Senator Cedillo, that was your only item under Assembly third reading? Thank you very much. Senator Cogdill, not at his desk. Senator Correa, not at his desk. Senator Cox, do you have any other items to bring up today, sir, that are eligible on Assembly third reading?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, thank you. I do not, sir.
Thank you, Senator Cox. Senator Denham, do you have any items that are eligible under Assembly third reading that you wish to bring up today? You do not. Thank you, sir. Senator DeSaulnier, what item, sir?
File item 212 and file item 245, Mr. President.
Thank you. File item 212, Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1175 by Assemblymember Torlakson, an act relating to transportation and making an appropriation therefore.
Thank you, Mr. President. AB 1175 by Assemblymember Torlakson will bring the Antioch and Dumbarton Bridge into the state's toll bridge seismic program in order to ensure the bridges are seismically safe. A 2008 seismic study revealed that these two bridges need retrofitting to withstand an earthquake. It is important to note that the state will not pay to retrofit these bridges. The Metropolitan Transportation Commission will utilize their seismic safety fund to retrofit both bridges. Additionally, AB 1175 will require MTC to conduct a privacy investigation on their fast-track system and make other technical cleanup changes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Wes. Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. No. DeSaulnier. Aye. Duchesne. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Oropesa. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero. Runner. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, no. Ashburn, no. Negrete McLeod, no. Cogdill, aye.
Members? Call the absent members.
Calderon, aye. Flores, aye. Harmon, Hollingsworth, no. Oropesa, Romero, Runner, Steinberg, Strickland. Mr. President,
Ayes 29, noes 5. The bill is passed. Senator DeSaulnier, you have one other item. That would be file item 245. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. President.
Secretary will read. File item 245, members.
Assembly Bill 402 by Assemblymember Davis, an act relating to employment.
Thank you, Mr. President. AB 402 by Assemblymember Davis will provide workplace protections for children in the entertainment industry. I apologize. Current law requires the Division of Labor Standards Enforcement to enforce child labor laws and workplace safety laws, and to issue an entertainment work permit to minors with proof of adequate grades and health records. Due to budgetary restrictions, important state laws in this area are unable to be enforced and need more enforcement. So AB 402 will remedy the situation by requiring the DLSE to make unannounced visits to the workplace of child performers in order to check that their performers' paperwork is in order. This bill provides a funding source to offset the costs of DLSE. I apologize. By adding a small permit application fee, as other states have already done. This fee is a tax write-off which can be deducted from the performer's income taxes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll. Members, call the roll.
Onnested, no. Alquist, aye. Ashburn, no. Benoit, Calderon, Cedillo, aye. Cogdill, no. Corbett, aye. Correa, Cox, no. Denham, no. DeSaulnier, aye. Duchesne, aye. Dutton, no. Flores, aye. Hancock, aye. Harmon, Hollingsworth, Huff, no. Kehoe, aye. Leno, aye. Liu, aye. Lowenthal, aye. Maldonado, Negrete McLeod, aye. Oropesa, aye. Padilla, aye. Pavley, aye. Price, aye. Romero, Runner, Smidian, aye. Steinberg, Strickland, no. Walters, no. Wiggins, aye. Wolk, aye. Wright, aye. Wyland, no. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, no. Mr. President, ayes 21, noes 11.
Call the absent members.
Benoit, Benoit, no. Calderon, aye. Harmon, Hollingsworth, no. Maldonado, Romero, Runner, Steinberg. Maldonado, aye.
Ayes 23, noes 13. The bill is passed. Senator DeSaulnier, I believe that those are all the items that you have on Assembly third reading. Thank you very much. We're going to go to Senator Duchesne. Senator, do you have any items that are eligible? No further items on third reading. Thank you. Senator Dutton, do you have any items that are eligible on third reading?
No, Madam President, Mr. President, but I could actually make that a motion I made yesterday, but I got a feeling it wouldn't have any greater results now, so I'll pass.
Appreciate your forbearance, Senator Dutton. Thank you very much. Members, we're going to lift the call on some of today's earlier items in order that we can clear the on-call list. If you could ask all members to come to the floor so that we can lift the call on perhaps a dozen or more members from earlier in the day. We're going to begin with file item 118 by Mr. Mendoza. Secretary, call the absent members.
Flores. Kehoe. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Oropesa. Aye. Steinberg. Wiggins. Aye. Maldonado, aye. Mr. President, ayes 23, noes 14.
Ayes 23, noes 14. The bill is passed. File item 116, Ma. File item 116, Ma. Call the absent members.
Flores. Negrete McLeod. Oropesa. Aye. Price. Aye. Steinberg. Mr. President, ayes 21, noes 16.
Ayes 21, noes 16. The bill is passed. File item 172, Davis. Call the absent members.
Oropesa. Aye. Romero. Steinberg.
Call the absent members.
Romero. Steinberg.
Senator Hancock asked that we replace the call. File item 182, Swanson.
That's 182.
This is AB 236, file item 182 by Assemblymember Swanson. Call the absent members.
Cedillo. Cogdill. No. Cedillo, aye. Flores. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Steinberg. Mr. President, ayes 24, noes 15.
Ayes 24, noes 15. The bill is passed. File item 189, Fuentes. Call the absent members.
Cedillo. Cogdill. No. Flores. Aye. Harmon. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Steinberg. Cedillo, aye. Correa. You're no.
Ayes 22, noes 16. The bill is passed. File item 219, De Leon. Call the absent members. Members? Members, we are lifting the call. If we could have order in the chamber, please.
Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. No. DeSaulnier. Flores. Maldonado. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Steinberg. Yee. DeSaulnier, aye. Cedillo, aye. Flores, aye. Yee, aye.
Ayes 23, noes 15. The bill is passed. File item 258, Saldana. Call the absent members.
Calderon. Aye. Cogdill. No. Harmon. Oropesa. Aye. Runner. Steinberg.
Ayes 22, noes 15. The bill is passed. File item 263. Torlakson, call the absent members.
Cogdill? No. DeCheney? Aye. Harmon? Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Steinberg? Mr. President, ayes 23, noes 14.
Ayes 23, noes 14. The bill is passed. File item 190. Fuller, call the absent members.
Alquist? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Kehoe? Liu? Oropesa? Aye. Price? Aye. Runner? Steinberg? Wright? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 35, noes 0.
Ayes 35, noes 0. The bill is passed. File item 224. Davis, call the absent members.
Alquist? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Correa? Aye. Harmon? Maldonado? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Price? Aye. Steinberg? Yee? Yee, aye. Maldonado, aye. Mr. President, ayes 25, noes.
Ayes 25, noes 13. The bill is passed. File item 218. Bass, call the absent members.
Alquist? Aye. Correa? Harmon? Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Aye. Runner? Steinberg? Wolk? Wolk, aye. Correa, aye. Ayes 36, noes 0.
Ayes 36, noes 0. The bill is passed. File item 196. Fuhrer, call the absent members.
Cedillo? Cogdill? Aye. Correa? DeCheney? Harmon? Kehoe? Romero? Steinberg? Correa, aye.
Ayes 30, noes 4. The bill is passed. File item 98. Mendoza.
Onnested? Cogdill? Correa? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? Huff? Lowenthal? Aye. Romero? Steinberg? Strickland? Walters? Mr. President, ayes 31, noes 0.
Ayes 31, noes 0. The bill is passed. Members, we are returning to file item 172. Lift the call. Call the absent members.
Romero? Steinberg? Cedillo? Aye to no.
Ayes 19, noes 19. The bill fails. Senator Hancock requests reconsideration. Without objection, reconsideration is granted. Members, that completes the items on call. We have one item still on call. The floor manager has asked that we hold off on that. We are going to return to the Assembly third reading. Senator Cogdill, do you have any items on Assembly third reading you would like to bring up today, sir? No. Senator Correa, do you have any items that are eligible on Assembly third reading? No. Senator Hancock, do you have any remaining items on Assembly third reading that are eligible to be heard today? What file item, please, Senator?
It is file item 208.
File item 208. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 838 by Assemblymember Swanson, enacting the working conditions.
Oh, actually, I'm going to pass on file on that, Senator Simidian. Thank you.
All right. There's a pass on file item 208. Senator Hancock, I'm advised that you are the floor manager as well for file item 204.
I'm passing.
Pass as well. Thank you very much, Senator Hancock. That takes us to Senator Harman. Senator Harman, do you have any items you would like to take up today? Not at his desk. Senator Hollingsworth, anything you would like to take up today under Assembly third reading, sir?
Absolutely not.
None. Thank you. Senator Huff? No. Senator Kehoe, anything else under Assembly third reading? Senator Leno, I believe you have a measure on Assembly third reading. File item, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this may sound familiar because I presented it yesterday, but was interrupted due to an amendment that was pending, so I'll be very brief. This bill, AB 742, which is item number 115, and you have to read it, please.
Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 742 by Assemblymember Saldana, enacting to elections.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, AB 742 would require that superior courts send a list to election officials clearly specifying the felons confined in state prison or on parole in order to disqualify them for voting. This bill does not change who's eligible to vote. And I'll repeat this, this bill does not change who is eligible to vote. It just assists county clerks in determining who is eligible, who is not, without added time and effort on their part. The bill has no opposition and does have the support of the California Association of Clerks and elected officials. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? No. Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harman? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Duchesne, aye. Benoit, no. Calderon, aye. Flores, Harman, Maldonado, Romero, Runner, Steinberg.
Ayes 21, noes 13. The bill is passed. Senator Leno, do you have any other items eligible for third reading? You do not. Senator Liu, do you have any items? You do not. Senator Lowenthal, what item, sir?
I have
file item
259.
File item 259. Thank you, Senator. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 828 by Assemblymember Liu, an act relating to building standards.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. AB 828 establishes a comprehensive process for developing statewide green building standards that incorporate expertise from state agencies which are responsible for protecting California's public health and the environment. California Building Standards Commission is currently developing green building standards for inclusion in the California building codes. Although the Commission has made a very good effort in developing an initial set of voluntary green building standards, clarity and authority are required to ensure that many other expert state agencies are involved and that their recommendations are considered. This bill provides that clarity and authority. In addition, the bill ensures that the California Energy Commission has the authority to adopt energy efficiency standards, whether voluntary or mandatory, and that these standards are recognized as green building standards. This bill will result in building standards that use resources more efficiently, that reduce energy and water usage, that reduce building operational costs, and improve the quality of life for occupants. There is no opposition to this bill, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote. It was a great presentation.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. DeCheney? Dutton? Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee aye. Correa aye.
Call the absent members.
Ducheney aye.
Call the absent members.
Dutton? Flores? Harmon? Hollingsworth? Romero? Runner? Steinberg?
Ayes 23, noes 10. The bill is passed. Senator Lowenthal, do you have any other items that are eligible on Assembly third reading?
No.
Thank you, Senator Lowenthal. Senator Maldonado, do you have any items eligible under Assembly third reading you'd like to take up at this time?
I have one better. I'd like to move a bill to the inactive file.
Well, thank you.
AB 604, file item 221.
File item 221, move to the inactive file. Without objection, so ordered. Senator Negrete McLeod, do you have any items you'd like to bring up under Assembly third reading at this time, ma'am?
I have 4, but they're all gone back for amendments.
All right, thank you. Senator Oropesa, if you would share the file item, please.
Yes, sir. It is item 175.
File item 175. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 943 by Assemblymember Mendoza, an act relating to employment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members. This is a very straightforward measure. It would ban the use of pre-employment credit, consumer credit reports in the screening of potential employees unless 2 criteria are met. First, the information in the credit report must be substantially job-related. In the credit report, there must be a candidate. I'm sorry. Where the applicant or promotion candidate would have access to money, other assets, or confidential financial information. And second, the position sought is either managerial, a sworn peace officer, a position in the city or county government, or required by law. An exemption is given for financial institutions with certain existing privacy requirements under federal law. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? No. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, no. Mr. President? Cedillo?
Call the absent members.
Cedillo, aye. Ducheney? Flores? Harmon? Kehoe? Maldonado? Romero? Steinberg?
Call the absent members.
Ducheney? Flores? Harmon? Kehoe? Maldonado? Romero? Steinberg?
Call the absent members.
Ducheney? Flores? Harmon? Kehoe? Maldonado? Romero? Steinberg?
Senator Oropesa moves the call. Senator Oropesa, do you have any other items you'd like to take up that are on Assembly third reading?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you give us the file item, please?
It is item 262.
File item 262. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 146 by Assembly Member Mendoza, an act relating to instructional materials.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This bill addresses problems with supplies delivered to small school districts. This is a special bill for small school districts which are not receiving their supplies and materials, including textbooks, in a timely fashion for the beginning of the school year. I was shocked to learn about this and was very pleased to jockey the measure. This leaves, of course, students without the resources needed to begin their learning year. Assemblymember Mendoza and the publishers have been working together to address this issue. They've agreed to put into the code the language previously contained in the California Department of Education's Title V regulation, which deals with the publisher's or manufacturer's failure to deliver materials within 60 days. Last year, this bill received bipartisan support on this floor, colleagues. Mr. Mendoza has taken amendments limiting the bill to those who contract with districts of 25,000 or fewer students to address concerns raised by the administration. We're hopeful that we can have bipartisan support for this measure and look forward to a signature by the governor.
Debate or discussion? Senator Onestad.
Just a question.
Question of the floor manager.
Why does this bill exempt the Los Angeles School District?
I beg your pardon? Can you say that again?
Why does this bill exempt the Los Angeles Unified School District?
It actually protects small school districts, those of 25,000 or fewer students. Los Angeles would not be in that category. The measure is intended really to address the concern and need of small rural school districts. That's the whole point of the measure.
Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onestad? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa?
Aye.
Aye. Cox? No. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? No. Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? No. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Oh. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Aye. Maldonado? Aye.
Call the absent members.
Cedillo? Aye. Flores? Harmon? Padilla? Romero? Steinberg? Wolk? Wolk, aye. Wyland? Wyland, no.
Ayes 21, noes 14. The bill is passed. Senator Oropesa, do you have any other eligible items today? No. Thank you, ma'am. Senator Padilla, I believe you've completed all of the items you had that were eligible on Assembly third reading. Senator Pavley, what item, please? One item?
30.
File item 130. Thank you. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1462 by Assemblymember Feuer and Act relating to Medi-Cal.
Yes, members and Mr. President, this bill is sponsored by the Cedars-Sinai Hospital down in my district. Assembly Bill 1462 will allow the California Medical Assistance Commission, also known as CMAC, to consider the cost of graduate medical education when negotiating reimbursement rates with hospitals. AB 1462 has the support of the California Hospital Association, the California Children's Hospital Association, and has received no votes in the Senate or the Assembly. I ask for your support.
Is there any objection to the unanimous roll call? There is objection. Call the roll.
Onestad? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Benoit? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? I. Huff, I. Kehoe, I. Leno, I. Liu, I. Lowenthal, I. Maldonado, I. Negrete McLeod, I. Oropesa, I. Padilla, I. Pavley, I. Price, I. Romero, Runner, I. Smidian, I. Steinberg, I. Strickland, I. Walters, I. Wiggins, I. Wolk, I. Wright, I. Wyland, I. Yee, I. Ducheney, I. Mr. President, ayes 37, no 0.
Ayes 37. Hollingsworth, aye to no.
Hollingsworth, aye to no.
Ayes 36, noes 1 on the roll call vote. Senator Price, do you have any items remaining? None. Senator Runner, are there any items you would like to take up? Not at his desk. Senator Strickland, are there any items that either you or Tiny Tony would like to take up on?
No, Mr. President, but point of personal privilege, I would like to introduce my little boy. His Tiny Tony. His second birthday is on Monday. Say hi, Tiny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Walters, no items. Senator Wiggins, do you have any items?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Senator Wiggins.
Okay.
Senator, these are on Assembly third reading. Do you have any items on Assembly third reading?
Well, it's item 56.
If I can ask you to hold that item, not on Assembly third reading.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can't take it.
Thank you, Senator Wiggins. Senator Wolk, do you have any items on Assembly third reading? If we could activate Senator Wolk's microphone and she can tell us the file item.
Item 239.
Item 239. Thank you, Senator. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 94 by Assemblymember Evans, an act relating to conservation.
AB 94 would reinstate the voluntary natural heritage preservation tax program, which has been very successful. The net effect of the tax program is to lower the cost to state and local government for resources for land acquisition of 55% of what it would pay in a cash transaction. The program's been a win for everyone. Voters see the bond funds used for their intended purpose, but they're stretched even further. Landowners are provided another option for selling their land, and the general fund is protected. This will reauthorize the program for another 5 years, and there are a lot of supporters from all over the range of organizations that work with outdoor preservation and land preservation. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Benoit? No. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? No. Denham? No. Dusanier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? No. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon?
We'll do
Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? No. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk. Wiggins, aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Cedillo, aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Aye. DeCheney. Aye. Flores. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Lowenthal. Maldonado. Padilla. Aye. Romero. Runner. Maldonado, aye. Lowenthal, aye.
Ayes 23, noes 12. The bill is passed. Senator Wolk, do you have any other items on third reading? Senator Wright, do you have any items on third reading? File item, please.
149, Mr. President.
149, is that correct, Senator
Yes.
Wright? Thank you. File item 149, members. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 275 by Assemblymember Solario, an act relating to missing persons and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill to date has not had opposition. What it does is it places a $2 fee, and actually, it extends the sunset of a $2 fee on death certificates that goes into a DNA fund so that you're able to track missing persons and persons who are lost. We recently saw where someone had been taken and been away for 18 years. If you needed to try to positively identify this person, this DNA fund would have been what you used to do that. If you take away the sunset, members, we go back and we have to use the general fund for this. We've been able to use this fund in California to actually track missing persons and lost persons and positively identify. Was brought by the Attorney General. I'd ask for an aye vote. I'm not aware of opposition.
Debate or discussion? Is there any objection to the unanimous roll call? Duly noted. Call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Benoit. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. DeSaulnier. Aye. Denham, aye. DeCheney. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. No. Huff. Kehoe. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Kehoe, aye. Mr. President. Maldonado, aye to no.
Ayes 20.
DeCheney, aye. Onnested, no.
Call the absent members.
Benoit. Flores. Harmon. Huff. Romero. Steinberg. Walters.
Ayes 30.
Negrete McLeod, aye to no.
Ayes 29, noes 4. The bill is passed. Senator Wright, do you have any other items that are on third reading and eligible to be taken up today? No. Thank you very much. Senator Wyland, do you have any items? No. Senator Yee, do you have any remaining items? No. Senator Harmon is not at his desk. Members, that completes Assembly third reading. We do have items on call. What I would like to do is go back now to those items, and once we've completed those items, we will be recessing for the day. So if we can ask all members to return to the floor, including our Pro Tem Senator Steinberg, if he's within the sound of my voice. And that will allow us to take up these final two items. File item 143, we are lifting the call, members, on file item 143, Huffman. Secretary, call the absent members.
Denham, Flores, Maldonado, aye. Oropesa, aye. Steinberg, Wright, Yee, aye. Steinberg, aye. Flores, aye.
Ayes 25, noes 3.
Noes 13.
Excuse me. Ayes 25, noes 13. Mr. Calderon asked that we replace the call. That brings us to file item 175. Mendoza, please lift the call. Secretary, call the absent members.
DeChaney, Flores, aye. Harmon, Kehoe, aye. Maldonado, aye. Romero, Steinberg, aye. DeChaney, aye. Mr. President, ayes 24, noes 14.
Ayes 24, noes 14. The bill is passed. Members, we have no consent calendar day. We have no special consent calendar day, with the exception of the one bill which remains on call. We have completed our business. Are there any items under motions and resolutions at this time? Are there any items under privileges of the floor at this time? Senator Oropesa, for what purpose do you rise, Senator?
Sir, under motions and resolutions.
Proceed.
At the request of the author, please remove AB 359 Nava from today's special consent file for the purpose of amendment.
359 removed from special consent. File item 359 removed from special consent for purposes of amendment.
It was a Blakesley bill. Thank you.
One moment, please, members. Senator Oropesa, I believe it is Assembly Bill 359?
You are correct. I apologize.
And that would be file item 271 removed from the special consent. Thank you, Senator. And one moment, please, while we make sure there are no other items to be removed. Item 276 removed from special consent without objection. Duly noted and so ordered. Senator Calderon, we have only your item remaining, sir, before it is time for us to recess the session. Would you like to lift the call on that item? Senator Calderon asked that we lift the call on file item 143. Members, we're almost there. Call the absent members.
Denham? No. Denham, no. Wright? Wright, aye.
This is file item 143. Members, this is a 27-vote bill. Members, if I could have the attention of the body, please. The vote on file item 143 is 26 ayes, 14 nays. The measure requires a two-thirds vote. The bill is defeated. Senator Calderon requests reconsideration. Without objection, reconsideration is granted. Members, there is no ayes 36, excuse me, ayes 40, noes 0 on the reconsideration. For the record, Senator Calderon. Thank you. Members, there is no other business before the Senate desk, and I have been asked by the President Pro Tem to announce that session tomorrow will be from 9 a.m. until noon. So without objection, we stand in recess, and the Senate will be in session tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. The expectation is 9 till noon. We are in recess.